Did you know there is a whole FIA technical document about the types of paint that they can only use on Formula One circuits? And that goes for everything from the runoff areas to the white line around the circuit to the paint on the apexes, even the grid boxes. It's just one of the many factors you have to consider when you're painting a Formula One circuit. Now, many tracks are using the services of a company of Road Grip. They are going around designing loads of artwork and doing all the paint work, and I'm here with them at the Belgian Grand Prix to find out how they're doing all of this. And in classic Belgian weather, it's been raining a lot, so the crew are working double time.
Yeah, so Road Grip, we're a specialist line marking contractor. What we specialise in is motorsport and racetracks, being Formula One, WEC, Formula E, MotoGP. We work kind of with all racing series, and we install kind of FIA homologated paints to the racetracks. We started as a line marking contractor that's now kind of diverged into motorsport across all continents, whether it's in the US, we would do that Singapore, we do a lot in the Middle East now, all with Formula One and MotoGP. Somewhere like Spa, where the weather is unpredictable to say the least, we like to get out here a couple of weeks ahead. So here we've done a lot of like look and feel up Eau Rouge and the bus stop chicane, so you can see like the Belgian colour flag. So we worked with the track, they kind of gave us a design, and we worked to that, installing all those colours. We do all the racing lines as well, sporting lines, whether it's edge lines, DRS lines, safety car lines, pit entry, pit exit. You've got the grid, start line, finish line, and obviously with Spa being 7 kilometres round, it's quite a considerable amount of like linear meterage. So 7,000 metres round, 2 edge lines, it's 14,000 metres of line before you've even started doing the grid and the pit lanes. There's 2 pit lanes here. There's a selection of manufacturers that produce the FIA homologated paint. It's a safety specification, so all the paint has like an anti-slip kind of a grit within it, just for safety for the cars when they're driving in wet conditions. This one here, we were given a design document by Spa, and this, with the way the flow follows the flows of the track, it was mostly just done by rope and chalking out, which is quite rudimentary kind of setting out, but it needs to be accurate, and the guys have got a lot of experience having done it kind of at a lot of tracks kind of worldwide.
And this is one of the machines that the operators are using. Now on the machine, it has an air compressor so that when all the paint is loaded into the bucket, all they're needing to do is up the air pressure, therefore all the paint is pushed out the nozzle, as well as also having its own motor in order to control the speed going forwards and backwards. To help indicate where the paint line is going, the machine has 2 markers which the operator can follow. The first being on the front for painting general straight lines, but for the tighter corners they have smaller markers onto the paint catch closer to the nozzles. Now earlier Ollie mentioned that they have to use a certain type of paint which has been approved by the FIA, which is an anti-slip paint, which basically means it's not as smooth as something which you just paint around the home. It's got a bit more grit to it, and this also causes some problems with the painting process. Because you're having such abrasive paint going through a hose or even going through the nozzles, these are constantly having to be cleaned out and scraped off so that the actual paint finish is coming out very clean. To also help ensure that the paint edges are that sharp, either side of the nozzle are 2 wheels that rotate as the machine goes along. These are effectively moving masks along with the machine in order to help get that clean edge. And after a section of the track has then been done, the operator will come along and make sure all the paint is scraped off into the catch in front of it. The machine can also be expanded into using more paint, so rather than just using the 1 nozzle, it can expand into 3 if you're doing larger pieces which just need a blanket colour. But there is some sections of the track which can't be done by the machine and simply have to be done by hand and using masking tape. So the first process for this is that the team will get out some string to make sure that the lines are actually straight. This will then be marked out with some chalk, and then some masking tape will then be put down. It's then the simple case of getting a hand roller and just doing it by hand. And yes, of course, I did also ask if I could help out, so the team gave me a little brush so I could say I painted a little bit of a Formula One circuit. The drying time is usually around 30 minutes in the bright sunshine, so after that's done, the masking tape can then just be simply pulled off.
At some events we leave a team on standby for touch-ups. We like to leave them here until at least the track inspection has been completed and it's signed off then by the FIA and by the track, so we work directly for the track.
There's some sections of the track as well which are being painted black to try and make all the imperfections not noticeable on the camera. For example, at the top of the hill there was some new concrete which was to help with all the drainage for when it starts raining. So sections like this can easily just be painted over with black paint. Now something more recently that you might have seen is the FIA introducing blue lines on particular corners to help with track limits. The reason why the color is blue and not just simply white is because the software needs to be able to distinguish what is past the track boundary. And the track organizers really don't like this because the color is so different to what they've normally done in their other color palettes. For example, in Austria, you could say, well, you've got some dark blue colors there, so it kind of works. But having it in Spa would stand out quite a bit. However, there was a bit of a workaround. The FIA allow the track to expand the overall width so the white line is closer to the gravel. So they paint black over the original white line and paint the new boundaries partly on the curbs. Because you're needing about 1.5 meters from the white line to the gravel in order to not have a track limits violation. However, in the areas where they definitely needed to put the blue line, they are actually able to just use the color green instead. This is just one of the components in preparing a Formula 1 track, plus having to work around the rest of the track being worked on, even having to wait for the new F1 film to finish using sections of the circuit. Hopefully this will give you a new appreciation for the amount of work that goes into painting it.